Thank you for inviting us here. So here's our goal. Augustus Harris, to my right here, is from Philadelphia. Been in the United States a little less than a year. Hey, it's hard getting up here. Come on, let's get it up. And Araceli Ramirez is from Dallas. So got some Dallas fans? So here's what our goal is. Our goal is to give you some ideas, to give you some tools and some inspiration to keep changing the world. It's really to help you believe in yourselves. So the structure is going to kind of, I'll make a few comments about how an adult thinks about youth empowerment and what I've learned. And then Augustus and Araceli have both been working on projects with the Aspen Challenge. We're going to talk a little bit about what they're doing, why they got into it, what barriers they've had, to give you some ideas. And then we're going to open up for questions or a dialogue. You can riff on somebody else's point. You can ask a question of anybody here. And the idea is to have you leave here more empowered to change the world. So let me just tell you who I am. So I'm not like a sports star or a musician. If you go to church and you hear me sing, you want to be a couple pews away from me. It's really ugly. My father was a truck driver. My mother was a library clerk. And over a period of time, through some luck, hard work, I ended up running one of the biggest companies in America, which is really great because we do good things in the world. And what I've had an opportunity to do is meet a lot of really successful people on the way. So I've met a bunch of presidents, I've met sports stars, I've met musicians, I've met world leaders. And the one thing they all have in common is they believe in themselves. I've also had a chance to meet a lot of youth because I'm a huge believer in youth empowerment. So we work on giving kids the tools to help them do other things. So we charities. So anybody here do we stuff? No, you should. We did 1.5 million kids in America last year volunteered through we. We helped 5 million kids find their own voices. And what I have learned through that is youth can change the world. That your voices are stronger than you know. You come into it with fresh perspectives. You have passion, you have talent, you have energy, and we just need to free you up to do it. And so if you look back at history, that's been true throughout history. So 1955, there was a young girl, 15 years old. Her name was Claudette Colvin. She got on a bus and she sat in the space that said whites only. Driver says, you got to move. She said no. That was before Rosa Parks. So the civil rights movement was really driven as much by youth as by other people. So you can and will change the world. So our goal here is to give you some ideas about how you can do that. So let me start with Araceli. Araceli, maybe just give us a little background on you and what your project is and why you decided to do it.
Well, I go to Sunset High School in Oak Cliff, Dallas, Texas. Woo! We, as a team, we chose the topic of immigration. We created an organization called Dreamers Not Criminals, which will be providing support for all undocumented or documented. And our resource center at Sunset is called the Dreamers Resource Center, which will be providing GED and ESL classes 24/7, Monday through Friday. And it's also a place where they're gonna have a voice, they're gonna feel love, they're gonna wanna get their stories out. And that's like the toughest thing that they can do is let their stories out because they're so scared because they're gonna go back or they don't wanna be shown. But that's what our project comes into place, and we want them to be seen, we want them to be heard, we want them to know that they are just like us. They're regular people just because they're undocumented or undocumented, sorry.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, like what's documentation? I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday. Is documentation just some official stamp that some government official puts on a piece of paper?
Exactly.
Or is documentation the fact that your community loves you and you're a part of that community?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you decide to pick it? Like was it just, I mean, because you're involved in so many different things.
Mm-hmm. The reason I picked it was because I actually have a best friend in Dallas that is a dreamer. She's currently undocumented. She is the most caring person ever. I've known her since my freshman year in high school. And she's always talked about, she's always wanted to get her education. She wants to go to college. She wants to do something in her life because her parents are not wanting her to let her do that because she's been in the household where she's been taught that she needs to work, but that's not what she wants to do. And that made me very passionate about this project when it was brought to me. And also my tia, she's currently she's undocumented, and she's from Honduras, but she's from here. And she recently had a lawyer talk to her, talking about her documentation status. And she was so scared because she has 2 kids, and she wasn't going to leave them behind, or she didn't want to leave them behind. And that really does hit home because she is my family member, and I love her dearly, and I don't want to see her go either.
So you let your emotions drive it, which is
Yes.
really important because that gets your passion out. Find your passion. And that will drive you to give you the energy to do it. So Augustus, you do prison. Talk about your pipeline to prison work.
I'm from Bartram High School in Philly. Give Us a Crown chose James Golden Challenge to bring awareness to the public about the school to prison pipeline by using art to eradicate the school to prison pipeline. Well, students have been unfairly justified. Like, students should have like another chance to prove themselves that they can make a change. But the teachers, the school police don't give them that chance. So Give Us a Crown is like, we are like acting like a therapist, but not really. But it's like we want to create a relationship between students, police, and other students like themselves. So we're like offering an after-school program for students to like have free, open mind to express themselves and make a change in their community.
So, and I know anybody do any good at origami? I was terrible at it. I never even got like past the second fold. I could do that little football thing you kick, but like, how do you use partnerships to show off the origami? I think talk about how you're getting the word out.
Yeah, origami cranes is like, we took this from a Japanese folklore that says, folding 1,000 cranes grant you a wish, and our wish is to eradicate the school to prison pipeline.
And so when you put it, and so you're raising awareness, right? So people, don't you put it in retailers and stuff like that? Don't people hang these things?
Yeah, we hang it up in stores, businesses, schools, that if you see us like as a representation of us helping students to improve themselves, to have a better life in the future.
And then so when people see it, do they think differently about the kids?
Yeah, really, we had a lot of difficulty in partnering with people, but we had like setbacks. People said we cannot change. We cannot. This happened to Martin Luther King. A lot of things. He tried to do things, and people told him that it would not happen, but still, he made it possible. So it's like we are like kids, you know. It's like we are thinking about the next generation, our brothers, our younger brothers, our younger sisters, our children. In order to live a good life in America or throughout the world, we got to change the way people see students and
yeah, and I think it's
kids.
so you find something you're passionate about, but then you have to get the word out, right? Yeah. Because people now think differently. You see this fancy origami thing, and you say, oh, there's something else to this child other than it's just a bad kid. Right? So Araceli, what kind of problems did you have? So like you decide you're going to do this, you're going to help your friend. Like what are the barriers you had to work around, and how did you do it? Like what could you tell people about? Because you'll all have barriers whenever you're trying to do something as well. What did you do to get around them?
There was a lot of problems within this project because, like I said, the people didn't want to tell their stories, and that was one of our missions, was to let these people know that we're there for them and that their voice is going to be heard from this organization. And that was a really tough barrier to go through, but we did it, and we went to our local Mexican store, El Rio, down in Oak Cliff, and we got the permission from the owner of the store. We had to do release forms, and we interviewed a few people from the store and the workers, and that was a really tough situation because some of them were kind of like, oh, I don't want to be on this. Is it going to be on TV? I don't know if I want to be I don't know if I want my story out, and that really hurt us because we were kind of like, how do we do this? How do we come together and make this happen? And at the end of the day, we did it. We had people talk to us, and we were just so grateful to have that happen to us for our project.
And I guess, or both, either of you, how did you get people like together? So you got this idea, or somebody else had the idea. How did you come together as a group, right? Because sometimes, like your friends say, yeah, I'm really excited, and then they got homework the next day, or they got soccer, or they got something else they have to do. How did you get people motivated to come together?
Well, people had that in mind, but they just wanted people like to bring it up. But it's like allow people we can start doing our project. We give survey around to stores and parents and police officers, and they kind of like the situation that we are trying to address.
How about you? How did you get so how many people in your group?
8.
8 people. They're all here. All right.
Woo!
Let's give it up for the group. Yeah. So how did you all come together?
It was really hard because it was during the time of our school time, and it was the end of our junior year, so we were wrapping up tests, ACPs, AP testing. But I think it was, we got food. I think that's what really motivated everyone, is food. I mean, everyone loves food. But I mean, I think it's because everyone had a passion for the passion for the organization that we created, and that's what really drove everyone to come together and to work together and make this happen for our community.
So before we go to questions, what other things could people like me, adults, have done to help you? Not what could we have done to stop you, because we work pretty hard at that oftentimes. Yeah. We don't usually mean to, but sometimes adults are getting in the way. What could adults have done to help you accelerate or do more?
That's hard. Probably listen to us, let us have our opinions, because everyone does have their own opinions and everyone does deserve a voice. And it was kind of hard for the 2 of the coaches to kind of let us take over the project, because it was a really difficult project to take over. But at the end of the day, they let us take it over, and here we are in Colorado, making a difference, and we never gave up. That's one thing I have always been taught throughout my whole entire life. I know it's cheesy, but just don't ever give up on what you believe in. Just keep striving for it and just keep going, and just know that you're going to make it through.
Augustus, anything you would add?
Yeah, we just need the parent support, to help us, have this free thing we want to, associate with students, to have a relationship with teachers, family members, and other things. We need donations. In order for something to work, we need donations like food and other things. We want for our voice to be heard. Students, there are many students here, they have passion for doing stuff, but their parents, their older person, always suppress them. We want them to support us in what we do.
I agree with that. I mean, that's what youth empower, and you see people break through those barriers. So what questions would you have for Augustus or Araceli, or just about youth empowerment? So if you raise your hand, somebody will bring you a microphone. There's a question over here.
This question is for the both of you. So what barriers did you have throughout the challenges?
So could you say it again?
What were some of the barriers you guys went through?
What were some of the barriers you went through?
Well, our team, this is not the first team we had. We had to change 3 teams due to some people don't have the patience to work. Some people, they prefer something else than helping and change the community. But our team is we are like a family. We are like a family. And we want to change the way teachers see students, the way police see students, just to eradicate the school operation pipeline, not to suspend it.
Right. How about you?
Going on to what Augustus said, it was really just having people wanting to come together and having to be passionate. And we did go through the same thing where we were constantly replacing people because they didn't want to show up to meetings, or they just weren't about it. They didn't want to stay after late hours after school because they were tired. But we finally had a group that was very passionate about it, and we got through and we did it, and we're here.
So did you each have a couple of people who were really core, and then people in it just started growing? So you had 2 or 3 people who really believed in it, and then a couple of people came and didn't come, so they jettisoned, and you went and got other people. So you built on a core is what you did, yeah.
Yeah.
So found people who feel like you do.
Yeah.
What other questions do people have? Yes?
Hello. So you've both touched briefly on struggles you had with interacting with the student body, both like losing people from the team as they had other priorities. My question is twofold. First, how did you manage to find that core group of people? And second, when you needed to find new members after people jettisoned off, how did you reach out to the broader student community?
It's kind of tough. I think it was about meeting new people and learning our school, because I'm very closed in and I tend to stay with the same people. But when we were doing this challenge and we kept replacing people, there was a time where, I mean, I saw Ariana walking and I knew she was a dancer. So I was like, okay, she's passionate about dancing. She likes to be on stage. And I was like, come on, let's get her. She seems like she's gonna work for it, and she did. And I'm so proud of her. And it was just really hard finding new people because, I mean, like I said, it was at the end of the school year where we were doing tests, and I mean, I'm in a lot of organizations, so it was really hard to fit in time, but I made the time, and everyone from the group made their time to pull in their work, and yeah.
Well, I was not part of the first team, not the second or the third out. So it's like the students that was part of the first team and the second team or the third team was not really passionate about changing things, but our team down, we have that passion for like bonding students, teachers, and police together. We have that love to change the next generation, our brothers and sisters, our sons and daughters. So
it came around spiritually, really.
yeah, spiritually.
Other thoughts? Yeah, there's back here.
I guess this is more for you, Tom, but what role do you think that large CEOs and the top 1% play in supporting, other than financially, activists at our age?
One, get out of the way and not be so critical. Listen to people when they have. I've seen, so we do a ton on youth empowerment. As I said, we have, if you don't know, we do WE. You can see we help kids do volunteer work all around the country. And I have seen so many positive changes. People like $250, they make huge amounts of change, whether it's about bullying, it's about hunger. There's all kinds of things that people, environmental stuff. And so I would say that what adults have to do is give you the space. And what companies ought to do is just support people to try to get that space and give youth the freedom. And help you see what we see, which is, I think one of the bigger barriers is one you completely control. There are barriers. Your friends won't want to do it. People will think it's a bad idea. People will be on the other side of an issue. But the barrier you can't control is one in your head. And that's your self-definition and how you think about yourself, and it's how you believe in yourself. And so if you define yourself as a change maker, you will be a change maker. If you define yourself as just a student who's got to go to class and listen to the teacher and do whatever you need to be told to do, then that's how you define yourself. So define yourself broadly and then believe in yourself. And I think if we can tell you to believe in yourself, you'll make all the change in the world. Other questions, thoughts? People want to share their stories, you can do that too. There's somebody right there.
I have a question. It can go for either of y'all, but like, how do you, like for people that like want to make change and like want to build like a project or whatever, like how do you go about doing that? Like, how do you find the people? How do you like not be like discouraged to try?
Don't ever let someone talk you down. Whatever you're passionate about, you better step up to the plate and show them what you are worth and show them what you can do. Just because you're young doesn't matter anything. You can do anything in this world. you can make the change in this world, and that's what our organization is going to continue to do after years and after years, and after we graduate, we're going to continue to grow this project, and just don't ever let anyone talk you down in what you love to do.
When you are passionate about something, go for it. We shouldn't be the only team that will bring change. You guys can do the same. You can do the same. Don't let people tell you what to do or what not to do. You are yourself. You are no one else. That's it.
Great.
For both of you, what about your challenges changed you as a person?
Good question.
It's changed a lot. I've learned a lot of perspectives about how people go through what they're doing, like especially immigration, what their process is. It's a lot of process and it takes many years. And one of our team members, Karen, she's sitting down right there. I'm gonna call her out. She's always constantly telling me how hard it is for her to go through every single day of her life. I mean, I know she's gotten her papers and stuff, but she's has so much passion about it because her parents and stuff, and her story is just so amazing. And to see how it is when you know someone, it's different because they're going through it and they're telling you. So it's like, wow, this is amazing. You went through this and you got through it and you got your papers and you're here and you're making a change and you're going to continue to do that change every single day of your life. Yeah.
Well, it's like we haven't been through what other students went through, but it's like we are putting ourselves in their shoes, feeling what they felt. So that's why we are passionate about doing what we do.
So we've done some math around this too, in terms of all the volunteer work, and it's about leadership skills, it's about collaborating, it's about resilience, and you got to practice. So any of you play a sport, kicked a soccer ball, dribbled a basketball, hit a baseball, you know, the first time you did it's pretty ugly. And then you figured it out after time. It's same thing is true with leadership. And if you look at success in life, you got to start leading sometime. Start at your age, much easier when you go. Same thing is true with collaborating. And the same thing is, you've heard about stories of resilience. People leaving the team, feel bad, you go home, you're like, I got a bunch of other stuff to do. I didn't do as well in that paper as I wanted to because I was working on this. You pick yourself up. So volunteering and making a change will make you a better, more successful person and citizen in the world.
Have any of your opinions altered or changed throughout the process of like creating your various organizations, or is anything that you've discovered like severely impacted your kind of idea proposal?
You go ahead, either one. Go ahead, Augustus, you go first.
I didn't get a question.
Oh, has something changed your opinion about what you got going that changed your sort of view on where you were taking the proposal? So you got into it, you had this idea, and then you learned some stuff, and you're like, maybe not so much. It's pretty close to the question?
Well, before starting the project, we had a lot of doubts that people are gonna like say, we don't want it. We are not in favor of what you're doing, but a lot of people we asked, they had that passion of collaborating with us.
Yeah, going on to what Augustus said, I've had many changes, like my opinion in the project, because I'm gonna keep saying it because it is a very hard topic to talk about, and I've had a time where I was like, can we really do this? Can we, as kids, can we do this in our community? But then as we continue to grow as a group and as a family, I learned that just because we are young doesn't mean we can't do it, and we did it. And like I said, we're here in Colorado. I didn't think in a million years that I would be in Colorado talking on a panel with the CEO. Like, I've never thought in a million years that that would happen to me, and I'm just so beyond proud of my group and myself and my coaches.
So I just want to know, like, how was your perspective on your own challenge? Like, as you were doing it, how did it change? Like, that's basically it. How has it changed? Like, you viewing the problem itself.
Can you, like, elaborate more?
So starting out, you would think that, oh, this is gonna be hard, but like as you like now that you have everything set up, how do you view it now? Like, is it well laid out, or like how do you see it improving other people?
I see it improving other people because our resource center is within our school, and it is like right in front of houses and Sunset, and the project that we took. I'm trying to think. Sorry.
Well, you changed your team along the way. You changed some of the
Yeah.
direction. And I think, didn't you do the love wall after
Yes,
that came
we
up?
did the
right?
love wall. Actually, we actually did this big rolly cart thing that you saw in our competition day. It was like a 10-feet thing that had statics and demographics and stuff. And we learned that that was just not safe to do because it kept falling, the wheels were breaking, and we were like, how are we going to change this into something that's going to incorporate with our project? So we actually are doing a love garden that's going to have like the actual logo on our annex building that we got permission from our principal. We're going to have our logo, our name of it, and yeah. So
we're sadly out of time. So first, Araceli and Augustus, thank you. They fabulous. It was you know, you have a bunch of talent and passion. Let me just, before you all go, say that you should dream big. You should believe in yourself. I can ask you a question. If not you, then who? So you can change the world. Use what you learn out here. Believe in yourself, and you'll make a huge difference. Thank you very much.